Welcome back, everybody. TV Sports 27 is live on the air as we are continuing on with going for the Oklahoma record, the famous record, shattering the record. We have to get to a perfect 12-0 this season if we want to break the record coming up here. Good to be back with you guys. Got a good one coming up. It's 3-1 Cincinnati against undefeated number 1 and undefeated for a long time, undefeated Utah. Let's jump into this one. It should be a good one coming up. And first time that we've seen each other, I think, at least in my career here at Utah. So we'll dive into it and see what we got coming up. While we're sitting on the loading screen here, we'll give you guys a little moment to take a look at where we're sitting in the season. As you guys know, Andrew Cross, 4 years, been a starter, the senior here. And this has been the story of Utah the last number of years. If you've been watching our episodes, you know about it, you know it, you love it. We struggle a bit on offense, as you can see the yards, and surprisingly, our rushing numbers are way down considering we have a Heisman candidate running back. But the defense in the first 4 games continues to be as dominant as ever. Passing game a little bit to be desired, but we continue to be dominant on the line with the run stop. The rushing, you can see just averaging 17 yards a game, insane, 10 points a game. Going up against a Cincinnati team, look at their numbers. Rushing not that good, but a strong passing attack, pretty highly touted for points and yards. So let's jump into this. Big 12 action. We're in prime time. We're under the lights here. And I keep forgetting. I always talk about, I'm going to look and see what time of day we're playing. But I suppose we can say it's an evening game. I always mean to look at the schedule and I forget. But yes, good to be back with you guys. If you're regular viewers on YouTube, you're probably like, oh, he's been here every week. Because we upload this footage every single day on YouTube at 12 noon Eastern time, give you a new piece of content every day at noon. But if you're a regular viewer of Twitch, we have not been on for probably about a month and a half, which is something we had talked about, something we had mentioned that as going through some things on the back end, some life changes here, that our time that we're going to be able to get on stream would not be as often. Got a little bit of time here today, so we want to continue to encourage you guys, if you want to help us meet our goals so we can stream more regularly with you guys. Of course, we have all of our different social medias you can sign up for and support. The biggest one that we're looking for right now is YouTube. We're trying to get to 1,000 subs on YouTube, even more than that. So if you could help us meet our goal, hit the subscribe button, hit the thumbs up. That would be awesome. We would appreciate that. And we are still running our Patreon promotion. If we can get 10 new signups at patreon.com/tvsports27, then we are going to bring you a second season of our highly rated, highly viewed ESPN NFL 2K5 series. So if you guys want to see some ESPN NFL 2K5 come through on the channel, a second season, which you guys are really liking on YouTube. So help us unlock that. Help us bring NFL 2K5 a second season. 10 new signups. We need you in our corner. That's the only way we can survive. We need you in our corner. So check us out, patreon.com/tvsports27. So it's been a while. It's been, like I mentioned, at least more than a month. So trying to see, can we remember how to do this? That would be a hell of a way to come out here. Andrew Cross kind of having a hard time. So is number 66 there. That would be a bad situation here to come out and kind of take the L after not being on for a couple of months. So we'll see how that goes. Second down and 13 for the Utah Utes. Quick pass by Andrew Cross, and it is going to be dropped by Brian Baldwin. So this struggling offense, you can see we lose 3 yards on the first handoff, and then we come right out with a kind of a quick pass trying to get Andrew Cross relaxed and warmed up a little bit, and first throw goes in and out of the hands of the receiver, incomplete. So third down and 13, and Cross, and it is dropped. So there is the issues of the offense right on display, and it's just amazing. That just kind of tells you how dominant our defense is, that this offense that has struggled and has struggled for a number of years, you're looking at a team that is 8 wins away from breaking the Oklahoma Sooners all-time record that people thought was never going to be broken. The 47 wins in a row, that record is on the line if we can go 12-0 for a 3rd consecutive season, but we're doing it with kind of an offense that is out of sorts, that has not done that well, not playing that well, relying a lot on our defense. So Cincinnati Bearcats coming in at 3-1, feeling like they should be ranked here with their pretty solid record in the Big 12 here. We did the conference realignment, as you guys know. So what's going on, guys? How have you guys been since this little time off? I don't know when the next time we're going to be able to stream with you guys is, so jump in, make it be known here. Curious as well, I'm kind of curious as we go about this here. You know, the Twitch viewership is what it is, but, you know, I debate all the time whether we go back to YouTube, Twitch, which one gets the better engagement. When we streamed live on YouTube, I felt like we got better engagement, more folks tuning in, but people weren't watching the replays of the live streams. The numbers on the replays were always really bad. So that's kind of why we went with the streaming on Twitch, uploading to YouTube, which did boost the numbers a bit on those videos. But we're glad to be back here for a little bit. Don't know the next time we'll go on. Of course, we know at the time of this recording, the new college football game. Now, this is going to come out, of course, later on YouTube, way later on. So some of you might be a little confused hearing this, but know that we stream live on Twitch, upload it on Patreon, and then we upload it later on YouTube. So at the time that we are recording, we're probably about 2 weeks away or so from the brand new college football video game coming out. A lot of speculation about it. You're hearing rumors that there might be a couple of different announced teams out there, which would be kind of cool. Like if those rumors do hold up, that would be pretty awesome, pretty sweet. So, you know, and I don't know. I haven't heard yet or read, I guess, if the new game's going to come out on just PS5 or eventually on PS4 or what. You guys know I'm holding off on the PS5 because there's continued rumors. There we go, finally. Moving the ball here. Continued rumors that the PS5 Pro is scheduled to be coming out in November. Keep hearing that stuff, so it's like, you know, why are you going out and buying the PS5 when the Pro might be coming out here? So whether or not that would be worth it to buy it just for that game, probably check out what the game looks like first and then decide whether we buy a whole new console just for that cross. Could not find the time and get sacked. James Jude, double J. That's James, Jude, haha, double J. James Jude right there. My goodness, brought down under pressure, under duress from Andrew Cross. So it's 2nd down and 20 in this ball game. Speaking of Patreon, you just saw at the bottom, shout-outs to our Patreon supporters, those of you that are staying with us here. Cross gets sacked again. Did not see the linebacker blitz coming in and gets laid out. So 3rd and 28. I think you're in a situation where you run the ball, you give up on this one to play for another day. Game says hoist it. Let's do a screen. Let's do a screen here. But, yeah, as always, we do a post-game show for our Patreon members. We look at all the after-the-game action. So those of you that are watching on Twitch or watching on YouTube, you're just going to see the gameplay. But if you want to see what the other teams did, you see we got a huge battle. Who would have ever thought Vanderbilt and Utah State in a top 20 matchup? If you want to see the results of all the battles of the top 25, if you want to see stats, Heisman Watch, recruiting, we have a special post-game show that we do at the end of every single one of our games exclusively for our Patreon members. Any level gets you in the door, but we got a couple different levels for you guys to choose from. We got the basic level where you get all the bonus content. We got kind of the mega fan level where you can get the bonus content plus all the YouTube videos released early and ad-free, which they come out months ahead of time. We talked about this video coming out 2 weeks before the new college football game comes out. those of you that are watching this on YouTube, that game's already been out for months. That kind of tells you how early you can get some of these videos. Of course, we have the upper stream where you can get the Discord access and be able to request various streams and whatnot. And then the highest level gives you all that stuff, the Discord, the early videos, the exclusive videos, plus you get a little shout out on screen, get your name on screen there. It's a lot of fun stuff to be had right there. So Cincinnati, they've been the benefactor of a really good field position so far in this ball game. We started off with the football by way of the coin toss, the big L on the coin toss. And Cincinnati has backed us up. They have backed us up into a wall here. And struggling offense, struggling continues. I don't know, we need to change up the playbook or anything. Try to get this thing going. We're trying to, we were kind of playing around the last couple games going into the last season, kind of these short dink and dunk routes to just kind of move the ball a little bit. Of course, Andrew Cross went injured, as you guys remember, in the national championship game against Ohio State. That one recently went up on YouTube a couple of days ago and actually did terrible viewership. It's really weird. We'll get videos that'll come in and it'll get single-digit viewership, and then we'll get videos that come in and it'll get like in the thousands. And it's like there never seems to be an in-between. It's either very terrible or like in the thousands. And so of our 600 plus subscribers, trying to keep that regular has been a bit of a battle to figure that out, but such as the YouTube algorithm, I do suppose here. So yeah, that is the life YouTuber streamer here, but Utah Utes. And we'll see how this season goes. I think if we finish this one undefeated, a third year, we kind of talked about doing 2 more years of this. If we finish this undefeated a third year, maybe we got to come back 1 more year. But if we don't break the record, if we go out with an L, I don't know. Maybe we just retire on top. If we can retire with a national title, and when I say retire, that's retire from this coach, go into a new dynasty with the new game, assuming it'll be good. And we've put a number of years into this, and maybe we can just do semi-retirement. We've talked about, go to the new game, but we can always pop back and revisit this team, do another season, just see how they're doing. It's so hard. Now, you know what it's like in real life with the coaches. And Cincinnati will strike first with the field goal to walk away, because it's like you don't want to leave this team that feels like you can just keep winning championship after championship, right? You don't want to walk away from that. It's so hard to step away and leave this team, because you feel like there's so much more that you can still accomplish. But at the same time, new games coming out, got to move on at some point. But it's been nice. Hasn't it been nice? Look at, I've often talked about the yearly release model of sports games. And I'm not saying we need to go 10 years in between games, right? But NCAA 14 and then the new game coming out. Look at how much hype and excitement there is, because there was a 10-year break from that game to this game. And people survived. People played this game for 10 years, survived. Man, one day I long for a day we get rid of the yearly release model. Just give us updated rosters, right? Just give us DLC updated rosters and put out the new game every 4 or 5 years. I don't know. I think it'd just be so much better, but money left on the table, ultimate team, all microtransactions, whatnot. 2nd down and 9 here for the Utes. Cross tosses that one into heavy traffic. And the offense here for Utah, we're still trying to figure out a way that we can move the ball here. We go for some quick slants. How's the volume, by the way? OBS, sounding good, but it can always be tricky. I got my OBS at -35, and I got my microphone at -15, so it should be way higher than microphone. Cross sacks. I'll do a quick sound check here, but man, this is what happens when you take some time off. This offense is struggling. What the heck can we do? I'm going to boost that down a little bit. So Cincinnati, I mean, Cincinnati hasn't really moved it much either. They got the 3 points from, we got Dan the Man in the chat. Dan the Legend. Welcome back, my friend. How you been? Look, glad to have Dan in the house, one of our Patreon supporters. Appreciate you being here. Let's give Dan a little emoji here, a little emoji action. Dan, you are #1, my friend. So, again, a really good field position for Cincinnati. Look at Troy knocking off LSU. You saw that at the bottom. That's happened before. You know, my alma mater, Troy, not any stranger to beating LSU. Did it again right there. And this is part of the conference realignment. So we got Troy back in the Sun Belt here after they bounced around to some bigger conferences. Nebraska is an interesting one because they were the ones that almost broke the streak. Hancock, oh my goodness. So again, this is neither offense. This is a pretty bad offensive game. Neither offense. And Cincinnati, looking at the numbers coming in, Cincinnati was known for their offense. So neither offense doing well. Points on the board for the Bearcats because of the good field position they've had. Some interesting scores at the bottom of the screen. We got Fresno State, who's part of the Alliance, this group of the mid-major alliance. We call them the Alliance Conference. Almost kind of what they're talking about in real life, the idea that we came up with. They're kind of stealing it. But they're #5. They're trying to be one of those college football playoff teams that come in and maybe get, of course, we're going to do the top 4 again for this season and next season. And then, of course, with the new game, I suppose we'll move to the 12-team playoff when that comes in. But they're going against Texas A&M from the SEC. Of course, we got Utah State, also part of the Alliance. And the handoff to Robinson. We're going to have our own Alliance championship game as well. We got to kind of make it up because we can't just do it in the game. We're going to do like some kind of coin toss or coin flip or something. And there it is. Vandy knocks off Utah State. So that might put the pressure on the Aggies. Or I should say Fresno State now. They're kind of in the driver's seat as the Aggies got to kind of keep up now with Fresno State if they want to get that spot, possibly a spot in the college football playoff. In the Alliance, and, you know, former teams that we've seen in the college football playoff, Miami, Ohio, and Texas State last season have not performed that well in the college football playoff. So it's going to have to take a lot for one of these Alliance teams to break into the top 4. It's been a slog. It's been a struggle. End of the first quarter, Utah 0, Cincinnati 3. As we have basically been on this side of the field. Now we're flipped, of course, but we have been on Cincinnati's side of the field throughout this entire football game. And they're going to move the ball again here. Jeff Perry in there. Wow, Texas A&M pulls it off, knocks off #5. So in the Alliance, a big blow dealt. Of course, Fresno State in the Pac-16 for a number of years. They take the L. So does Utah State. They both go down. Handoff here to J.T. Robinson. It's Nebraska running away with this one. And we look at all the top 25 in our Patreon post-game show. So make sure you guys check that one out. We got another final here. What do we got coming across the way? Baylor with the victory over BYU. That's some Big 12 action right there. The new Big 12. Robinson takes it again, and he's going to get the first down. Darren O'Donnell making the tackle, but Cincinnati, they are in striking distance again of putting another 3 on the board. Handoff. Jamal Wade. And this normal rush stopping defense, this pretty powerful defense of the Utah Utes. They're having a hard time stopping the Bearcats here. Wade takes it again, and there's a first down. They're chewing up the clock. We're still early here, so it's not like we got a whole lot to look at, but they are chewing up the clock. Cincinnati, the opposite look of us. We normally wear the red helmets, red jerseys, black pants at home. Cincy going with the black, and red. Jamal Wade pushing forward, and we're seeing this Utah defense, the ground game, kind of getting pushed back more than we've seen in quite some time here. And Cincinnati might be looking to get into that deep red. Parker, what's going on, Parker? Parker in the house, joining us in the chat. Welcome, my friend. Glad to have you back for this first TV sports stream in quite some time. Hancock, that was dangerous as O'Donnell got back there to put the pressure on. And that was kind of a dangerous throw by Hancock as he threw that. Yes, for sure. Getting on for the first time in a long time. A couple months here that we've been back streaming. We kind of mentioned that that was going to be the new schedule going forward here, as we didn't quite meet our subscriber goals to... Oh, look at that big upset. Miami, Ohio. Knocking off Miami. Now, that was a game. That was a bowl game a couple of years ago. You can look in the archives on Patreon, the stat books, to see that game. But that was a former bowl game, a New Year's Six game, Miami and Miami, Ohio. So they do the rematch, and Miami, Ohio is going to knock off the Miami Hurricanes. And that's a huge blow because the Hurricanes, they were a college football playoff game. Oh, we have another defeat. Look at that. Florida State goes down. So the top four, Florida State, Miami, going down right now in our world. Florida State still in the ACC. You know, they're trying to bail. I don't know where they're going to go, but Florida State wants out, Clemson wants out, and Bill Bradford gets laid out there. But we got upsets, Parker. Parker, we got upsets left and right going on right now in the Utah Utes dynasty. Insane. And we might have, so we had number 3 go down. Texas goes down in the Red River. My goodness, Tennessee's going to move up. They were in the Rose Bowl last season against us. 3 goes down, 4 goes down. Number 1, they ain't got past midfield yet. So while we're score watching here, we got to kind of wake this thing up a little bit. Cross, there we go. Kind of the dink and dunk that we're talking about. There's Lewis Gardner, he's a junior. Top 4 is in big trouble. Yes, indeed. I don't know, how did number 2? That was Ohio State, right? They survived. Of course, our college football playoff teams from last year, Ohio State, Utah, Tennessee was in the mix, Texas State. Nothing happening. Bill Bradford, I think his normally a stud running back, his Heisman hopes might be going down in flames here. But glad to have Parker in the chat. Dan the Legend was here for a little bit. And Andrew Cross gets that to Brian Baldwin for the first down. And for the first time in this ball game, the Utah offense moving this thing along. This is a long time coming. So let's see if we can keep this good momentum up. Look at the total yards for number 1 in the nation. I'm not even going to repeat that. That's just a disaster. Man, the Battle of Miami. And Andrew Cross, he had Jason Newton. And whether or not Cross kind of overthrew it or Newton was able to kind of not drag the toe, either way, it's going to be incomplete on 2nd and 10 here for Utah. Feeling like they got to get something going. They'll get the ball to begin the second half here. So Cross and, man, miscommunication, back-to-back plays. Cross and company. And, man, it's got to be one of the most bizarre things. A team that's closing in on what people thought was going to be an unbreakable record. Oklahoma's unbreakable record might be led by one of the worst offenses in college football. Cross gets drilled. And they rule it incomplete. And Utah forced to punt it away here on 4th down. Whew, my goodness. Thomas Scott boots this one deep, and now we're relying on our defense. Offense still a mess here. SMU knocking off Georgia Tech. SMU joining the big boys conference here. Florida State. Oh yeah, we knew about that. I gotta. Hey. No, we knew about that. We knew about Florida State. Where's Troy putting the beat down on LSU? I said, much like in real life, Troy should be 3-0 against LSU. Go look in real life. Every time Troy played LSU, they should have beaten. They had the Nick Saban LSU beat. Of course, the famous one that when I was a student there, the big 30-point fourth quarter. They had a 30-point lead on LSU, and LSU came back in the fourth quarter. It was like one of the saddest defeats when I was a student there. And of course, recently Neil Brown, the back-to-back wins over LSU. But the history of Troy and LSU, Troy has had LSU's number. Oh my goodness, Cooper just gets spun out there. What a hit by Jonathan Barrett, a senior. So the Cincinnati offense also not having much happen on their end, which is, whether it's credit our defense for being good or it'd be nice if we got some better blocks here. But my goodness, credit our defense being good, credit them. There's the struggles for Bill Bradford, who Heisman candidacy, do with it what you will. Are those numbers accurate on the board? I suppose they are. That's pretty cool if they are. I've never noticed. But you can see our low numbers that is indeed accurate. Going back to Bradford, and once again, turning into a complete disaster for Bill Bradford. 5 carries, no positive yards for the Heisman candidate here. Second and 12. This has been the play. That's been the most successful play for Utah. Has been kind of that out route here. A quick pass to Lewis Gardner, I think, has been 3 of the 5 completed passes for Utah in this game. Bill Bradford straight up the gut, and there we go. I mean, 9 times the output on that run. We're winding down the first quarter here. So as a reminder, if you're not subscribed and you're watching this on YouTube, part 2 comes your way tomorrow. So you want to make sure you come back 12 noon. Come back tomorrow for part 2 of the Utah Utes here to see if the undefeated season continues or we just go down in flames here. Going this time to Aaron Price, who picked up 2 yards. Army now getting pushed up to the brink by Old Dominion, who that was a team that upset us many, many years ago. After our second season in Utah winning the national championship, we went to Old Dominion and took the L. It was a huge defeat coming off a national championship undefeated season. And Andrew Cross and our offensive line is not holding at all in this game. Look at this, just overpowered. And we got a 3rd and 17, so something that Cross is not good at here in this situation. Got to throw it deep. Basically flip the field a little bit here. So Cross is going to do it, and it is a first down. Jason Newton, timeout called for the Utah Utes. And that was a clutch, big-time play from Andrew Cross on a 3rd and long, and we are in field goal range at the very least. With a minute 12 here to play. Quick pass to Cross, out to Brian Baldwin. Still got a minute, still got that time on the clock. I'm going to try to hurry up here, call another play. Trying to save these timeouts under a minute here. 2nd down and 5. Pressure coming. Cross gets rid of it to Gardner. That'll stop the clock on a 1st down. So Cross recognizing the coverage and having some really good moments here on these last couple of throws. 40 seconds here. Andrew Cross is looking, dumps it off to Bradford, and Coach TV Sports goes ahead and takes the timeout. One more time while we're in the timeout. Again, if you want to help support the channel, Ko-Fi and Streamlabs, check us out, help support it. We can try to stream more often with you guys with your support. Of course, Patreon for the post-game show. We're going to be checking that out. We're going to be looking at the post-game show on Patreon. Of course, follow us on Twitter. If you've been following us on Twitter, you would have been knowing that we have been streaming today for the first time in a long time. So make sure you check us out on Twitter and, of course, YouTube, and join us live like all of our good fans are doing here on Twitch. So cross rolling out. He is going to throw it to Gardner, and there is a touchdown. Some huge throws on this drive from Andrew Cross to get the Utes on the scoreboard. The early part of this drive was a bit of a mess, but man, did Andrew Cross make some big-time throws on a 10-play, 57-yard drive, and number one in the nation continues to stick around, and it continues to stare down this possible undefeated record of the Oklahoma Sooners. So, my goodness. The record. 3 consecutive undefeated seasons plus a half of an undefeated season to break the unbreakable record of the Oklahoma Sooners. Hancock. Not only that, but to try to three-peat, which is something that has not been done, I don't think, in how long in college football. Of course, they talked about maybe USC as the unofficial three-peat. They had the 1 year where they finished number 1 but didn't play for the national title. Hancock up the back of his foot goes incomplete. But in our world, in our 20-plus seasons that we've done of NCAA 14, there has been no three-peat. And in fact, it's been like us and Ohio State. They're really only back-to-back. When was Minnesota's three-peat? That was a long time ago, right? I'm thinking of like the modern. I'm talking about like the modern era, I guess, suppose from the 90s on or what have you. Like, I know back in the day there were several, but when was Minnesota's? Should we call a timeout? Let's do it. Call a timeout. Try to get into field goal range. Yeah, in the 1930s. Yeah, in the modern era is I think USC has been the closest, right? And where do you consider the modern era to start? Some people say the 80s, 90s, what have you. But in my lifetime, which would be the late 80s into the 90s, 2000s, the closest was USC. We got an injury or just slow to get up, but we're going to go Hail Mary style, 3 seconds here. Again, as a reminder, second half coming your way on YouTube. Here we go. Cross. Getting some good blocks. Pressure is on and will make the throw and just could not set his feet. This offensive line is a mess. So that is going to do it for the first half, guys. If you're watching with us, on Twitch or on Patreon, stay right where you are because the second half comes your way in just a couple of moments. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you mash that thumbs up button. Help the channel out, by God. Mash the thumbs up button and come on back tomorrow because we got an interesting second half. Is Cincinnati going to end the 40-game winning streak? Or does number 1 live to fight another day? Come on back. Find out. TB Sports tomorrow.